music to last. Hold on, cause it's just.
Somebody gonna be in a minute. Oh, they can't see me. I got pen and paper there for people that come. Ooh, mercy. All right, pen and paper for people that come and you subscribe. New people that come in.
Let's come back this way some, cause that right there, yeah. Can we move this out the way too?
Hello. Somebody's watching.
Is it? Are we live yet?
Oh, yes, we're live. Who's watching? They can see me and you, I guess. Can you hear us? Please let me know whether or not you can hear me. Whoever's there. We're going to be here for a while.
Ooh, boy, your feet.
You know, my toes. I'm talking about my toes. I don't got to do my toes. What about my feet? I need a pedicure. Right?
Yeah, they look.
There's somebody. Who's that? Hello. Who's that there?
We have everyday notes.
Hi, Everyday Notes. This is my son, Darius Bailey from D. Bailey Speaks. And I need to get closer. How you doing? Everyday Notes. He's a teacher, Darius.
Is audio well?
Can you hear us, Everyday Notes? She lives in the Caribbean, and she's a teacher. She teaches online students. Yeah. His channel is D. Bailey Speaks. And we're going to be talking about relationships and social media. How's your new year coming along? You having a great year? I'm so far away.
Glad to meet your sons. Pleasure to meet you too. Everyday notes.
Hi, Shanique. How you doing? Shanique know you, Darius. Shanique, what? I can't see.
Shanique Dreams. Well, we're gonna have
Dreams.
a problem if you need to.
I need to come up closer, guys. You know I can't see. And he was talking about my toes. Everyday Notes heard, and he listened. Ooh, I need a pedicure. Yes, we're gonna be talking about relationships because Darius is telling me that what's going on, Darius? About relationships nowadays? Young
Relationships
people?
and social media is gonna be our topic today.
Yeah, okay. Social media and relationships.
We figured that put our ages combined together, 100+ years, we should have a little credibility with the
Did you all hear him?
relationships.
Hi, Miss Atkinson. This is my son. He's talking about, we're going to talk about relationships. He's talking about putting our age together 100 years.
Yes.
Well, we're not going to go there, but we're going to talk about relationships. And this is from his perspective, my perspective. What made you think about this topic, Darius?
Because it's relevant.
Relevant?
It's relevant.
In what sense with social media?
Social media, well, from experiences, from, me observing a lot, other people's, and just, social media and the news. It's impacting every aspect of our lives. So I figured it'd be relevant. Or you should have some experience with this as well.
Well, my experience would be totally different from a lot of people because now binary code. Hey, thank you. This is my son from D. Bailey Speaks. I was just telling him about you the other day because he addressed and I could talk about trending topics. So for lack of a better word, you said something to me about, they call them social media.
Hoes?
Hoes.
Yeah.
Have y'all heard that? Social media hoes.
I think
Whores.
I think they call them 304s. 304s. I think is that the zip code for Miami?
304.
304. I believe that's. I'm old, just like we're both.
Byron, have you heard about this? Social media whores. Ooh, that was hard for me to say. Who is that? Guys, I need to put. He's laughing. My son was saying between the two of us, 100 years plus, we can come up with several solutions. But I want you guys' input too. And please forgive me if I'm missing people in the stream because I wear bifocal. And my son got the damn phone miles away. Anyway, he was talking about women and men relationship. That's always been a challenge, guys, since the beginning of time, relationships. But things have really changed since I was out there dating. I'm married. And so relationships is always a challenge. It's always a challenge. And I'm passionate about relationships because that's what I do in my business.
Hmm.
Help people in their relationships because we all get stuck in our relationships. But from his perspective, he was talking about men are leaving. Come on, tell me.
Men are going their own way.
Tell
A lot of us familiar with it. Before we get started, let's do a little housekeeping.
what housekeeping?
If you're new to this channel, please be sure to click that notification bell, subscribe, and hit that like button. And also, if if you want to engage, please leave comments. So help out the channel.
And his channel is D Bailey Speaks.
D Bailey Speaks.
And this is Xander's father,
Yes,
my
I am.
Xander, and my youngest son. And I'm Phyllis Bailey. This is my channel.
You're Phyllis Brown.
Phyllis
Not
Brown.
Bailey anymore.
I am not
Older.
a Bailey anymore. I'm divorced from his father, so I'm
Yeah.
not a Bailey. I'm Phyllis Brown. My channel is Phyllis Brown.
That's right.
That's part of my legal
Yeah.
name. But anyway, but we're crazy. But anyway, relationships. Who is that?
Everyday notes. She's right. She says the older relationships are surviving, the younger ones are falling apart.
They are.
Yeah,
They are.
and I agree.
Right.
That
But-
foundation has been established with the older generations, and I totally agree. I'm finding there are quite a few people. I run into a lot of people who say they don't touch social media, they don't engage with it whatsoever, which is totally honorable. I wish I wish I fell into that category due to my profession and some of my endeavors. I don't have the luxury of staying away from
Well, I love social media. I do it for fun.
social media and people.
Right, but I can tell you something. In my research and in my business, I can tell you, there used to be the number one reason. There are a lot of reasons for people to split, but the number one reason I'm finding is that people are selfish.
I agree.
Everybody have their own agenda. They come into a relationship. Who is that? Come into a relationship.
Shanique's dreams, so true. Everyday notes. Yep.
Right. People are coming to a relationship with their own agenda. She has his agenda. He has his agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's coming to the relationship thinking they can change someone. Who's that? But one thing we learned that you have to remember, relationship one-on-one,
Thanks, binary code.
you cannot change another human being.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how hard you try.
Mhm.
You can make the environment safe for that person want to change some behaviors. But if you go into a relationship with a selfish motive that I'm going to get everything I want out of this man, out of this woman, you're not going to put anything in, that's a recipe for disaster
Mm-hmm.
in any relationship. So I know I look at things a little differently than people his age bracket and even younger. But when you decide to mesh your life with someone else, whether you decide to, I believe in the marriage, but a lot of people nowadays aren't going that route.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually just living together. I'm not here to judge anyone. That's your thing. That's what you do. But for me, marriage brought a
Hello,
little
Hilda,
more.
DC.
Hi,
Good morning.
Hilda. This is my son. Hilda is the one I was telling you about. Then I always want to get reviews.
No.
We learned that from you, Hilda.
Nice to meet you. Good
This
morning.
is Xander's dad guy, my youngest son. So he want to talk about relationships,
Yeah.
and he was saying there's a new thing going around social media.
Mm-hmm. Manosphere, men going their own way.
Men going their own way. Relationship whores, for lack of a better word. It's hard for me to say that, but I guess those are women that, why they call them social media whores?
Well, let me back up. I think that was too provocative. This is what I'm observing. Hello, Hilda. This is what I'm observing. I'm not a follower. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of research, and these are just some things that I've witnessed and noticed that trends are going in our community. And I just thought it'd be awesome to give our perspective on it. You being a relationship coach, me being just political science, trends
relationships.
in relationships, and just how that your perspective. I'm more curious as to your perspective, and
I was saying that most people marriages break up because hidden agendas. Everybody want to change the other one, and everybody's looking out for me. What can you bring to the table? What do you do? But that's not how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to always think that there was a such thing as 50-50. I don't know who that was. There's no such thing as 50-50 in a relationship. It's 100% on each person's part. Because I think we
It's a great
start saying,
perspective, yeah.
girl, we start saying, you do your 50%, I do my 50%. And then when the person does not follow through on your perspective,
Glad to meet you as well.
of what 50% means, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
What does 50% mean? To me, it's a contract. It really is. And it's a relationship, and all contracts can be broken.
Okay.
Don't you believe that?
I believe so. Or renegotiated.
Or renegotiated.
Renegotiated, yes.
If the potential to
Definitely.
be broken is there.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strong in these days and time. But you have to come back to the table and sometimes look at that contract.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to revise in the contract? What needs to be fixed? Why are we stuck? Why aren't we being productive in our relationship? What is a working relationship, a personal relationship? All relationships at some point get stale.
Yeah.
So we need to go back to the table and see what's going on. Can we have an agreement if I try to read the comments, if you're talking, you're speaking, then if I'm speaking, you try to read the comments because they know I'm so used to following.
Okay, great.
What did Hilda say?
Blessings, my beautiful family in the chat.
Yes, blessing. Make sure you all guys know me. I want you to check out each other's houses. Please do that. But in the interim, it's serious business now. Relationships are really, really suffering, guys. Do you know like 1 out of every 3rd person that's in a relationship are miserable? Those some high stats, guys. Some alarming stats. What's that? There's some alarming stats that people aren't happy. They're just really going through the motions. They're actually roommates. I've heard people say this. A lot of people, even in church.
The reciprocal attitudes are diminishing, which is, yeah, that's to your point.
That's right. You know, what can I do to make your life more productive? What can I do to enhance? That was a time we used to look for each other for our sense of joy and things, but now we don't.
Teamwork,
there's no
definitely
teamwork
teamwork. I mean, we like to attribute teamwork to basketball, to football, but when it comes to relationships,
There's no
it
teamwork.
requires, and I think it's selfishness and how it goes back to the metaphor of John the Baptist and Jesus Christ. Everyone wants to be Jesus Christ, but no one wants to prepare the way.
No one wants to be a
No one
follower.
wants to be the
Everybody wants to
second.
be a leader.
You follow me?
Yeah.
So, I think that is selfishness. It
Right.
goes, it
I see
goes
that's the number one reason for failures in marriages is
binary code. I realize how blessed I am to have such a great wife and awesome family.
yes, you do, Banner.
Blessings
We
to you.
saw
Thank you.
yesterday the nice dinner that your wife fixed for you and your son. And matter of fact, your son's the same age as Xander, his youngest son.
So guys, look, if I see a lot of you enjoying the channel, please do us a favor, go ahead and hit the like button. If everyone here who's engaging can like the channel, like the video, that would help us out tremendously.
Right, but I'm very passionate about relationships. So if 1 out of every 3rd person is unhappy, and these are alarming numbers.
Let me ask you this right here, and sorry
It's a
to
question, guys.
let me ask you this, and leave your comments below. What percentage of marriages exists for financial reasons? And let's be totally honest. What percentage, in your opinion, leave your comments below. What percentage of marriages exists out of convenience or to help the other person survive?
Well, I can,
Let's hear your honest thoughts on those.
Your honest thoughts, but I can say it's very high.
Okay.
It's not like it used to be.
Okay.
But nowadays, because of selfishness, people are going into relationships to combine their resources because they want to get more, buy more, obtain more. So they're not looking at the other benefits. That's some of your
65%, 75%. Wow.
I told you it's high.
Yeah.
Right, based on what I see. I'm telling you, when I would do modulars, I do what's that? An 8-week modular.
75%?
75%. And you'd be surprised. may have 12 couples in a room.
Okay.
I can actually look at the couples and tell you just by their comments and their interactions with each other, I can tell that they're in much more serious trouble than what I'm doing.
Wow.
So a lot of times
75%, 75%,
Yes.
75%. That's a great, I'm going to take this question and put it on my channel. You're welcome to use it as well. Opposed asking this same question. What percentage of couples exist for the sake of financial convenience? That's a great question.
What was the question?
I'm going to actually go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm telling you, out of those 12 people, I can tell you maybe about 2 of them are happy.
Wow.
And that's why they come, because they're trying to learn ways to strengthen their relationship, improve their communication skills, and actually get unstuck. But it applies to all types of
Yeah.
relationship,
Tosh,
professional.
wow.
What you say?
Tosh Short says, not sure on the percentage, but a marriage for money will never survive. And if it does, they both look miserable. Great point.
Tosh. This is Xander's dad. D. Bailey Speaks. Go check out his
Nice to
channel.
meet you, Tosh
Tosh is
Shorts.
one of my long-term supporters.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yes, you gotta check her out. Awesome, awesome. We're talking about relationships, guys, and it's just alarming. And he was talking about the women you see on Instagram and everywhere, how these women, everything is about look at me. It goes back to selfishness. Everybody, look at me, look at me, look at me. Everything is about me.
Yeah.
So,
I
but what
mean-
about the other person? What about the other person?
Yeah.
So, are you happy in your relationship? How can you improve, relationship? How can it be more productive? How can it be more rewarding? But I think it's not going to be if it's always about just you.
Yeah.
It's minister to each other. But trying to change each other is not going to work. It's not going to work, guys. You cannot change another human being. That's the first thing you learn.
Recognizing there's an issue in a relationship. Here's another question. Will you guys in your relationship be willing to cut off social media or scale back at least for the benefit of your marriage?
People playing their relationships out on social media. I know people get upset with their significant other, wife or husband, and they go, first thing they do is change their status.
Yeah.
They'll change their status, or they separated. Someone just said something. They
Yeah.
change their status. What did she just say?
I'm-
You can read. I'm sorry. They change
Thank
their
you.
status. You have to be mature in a relationship. You have to be mature. And the first thing is recognizing that in your little circle between you and that significant person, you cannot allow other people in that circle. That's a private domain. And so people don't do that. They have problems with their spouse or their boyfriend or girlfriend, and they start running, telling their girlfriend or their homies or everybody about what's going on in the relationship. You can't fix it once you start involving everybody else in what's going on.
Good morning, Red Random Videos.
Hi, Red.
Welcome,
You
welcome.
know Xander, D. Bailey Speaks.
Welcome.
You cannot involve other people in your relationship.
I agree.
That's private. And there's nothing wrong with once you get stuck. If you find yourself in a pattern with someone in a relationship and you feel that you're not communicating with each other, then you need maybe someone outside to help facilitate the exchange between the two of you. That exchange. And there's nothing wrong with having a facilitator, somebody that's invested.
Invested, yeah, exactly. I agree.
Somebody's investing in your relationship. Everybody's not investing in your relationship. Your girlfriend or your homie or your mom or your daddy may not like your significant other in the first place. So they're glad you're having problems. So they're going to do everything in their power to even try to disrupt it even more. So you got to, first of all, identify
Who's vested?
who's invested, and share at some point, not everything. You don't really need people to know that your husband's not taking out the trash. He's not meeting your needs. The first person you need to communicate that to is the person you feel is not meeting your needs.
Everyday Note says we need to know our relationships are unique, not try to be like others. Of course.
Right.
Be a leader.
Right.
There's so many failed relationships. There's so many unhealthy relationships out there. Trying to emulate others is futile, in my opinion.
Right.
Why would you try to be like the mass when the mass is, going in the wrong direction?
You know what I learned a long time ago? It's not to measure your life against another person's life or another person's relationship. But I'm telling you, because you don't know what people are going through behind closed doors. I'm telling you. So while you're trying to emulate what you see on the surface,
Exactly.
that's not really what's going on. I don't care how much you're in love, you're still going to have some issues.
Shanique Dream says, I would scale back from my relationship. My relationship means a lot to me. I value my relationship, so I don't share that much. If we're in a disagreement, it's definitely not up for discussion.
That's right.
Very good.
Right, Shanique. If you just not up, it's between the two of you. You heard that old song, Me and You, Baby, Against the World? That's what it means. And you know what else you don't do? People do. This is crazy. You don't involve your children in your relationship. Your children should never know what's going on in a relationship. They may see mom and dad and not actually, there's something going on. Kids are smart.
They need leadership.
They need
Period.
leadership. And you take those arguments or disagreement behind closed doors. Never let the children see that you're not concerted front, that you're on the same page. Because they can pick up and they're going to play against the one that's they want to their
Yeah.
advantage.
And what I've seen so many years is that, unfortunately, not to target women, but what I've seen is that a lot of women will use the child to team up. Misery loves company idea. The whole idea of misery loves company. Spouse will take the child and use the child as that extra against the other mate.
That's so.
And I don't find that. I don't find that healthy at all. And I think it's
No, it's
disruptive.
not. It's
Not a winning
right,
formula.
It's very destructive in that relationship.
Yeah.
You need to find someone. But I found too that something about our generation and we as people, I mean our generation and also people of color. When you're in school, when I was in college and I was taking counseling, they teach you the history about why we as African Americans and people of color, not just us, but a lot of other people of color, they have a very negative idea of what counseling is about. They see it as somebody in their business. I don't need anybody that's in my business. I don't want anybody to know. And that came because the counselors back in those days were not people of our color. They didn't understand our plight and what we go through.
Correct.
So we now have people of our color to understand. So it was always keep the man out of our relationship. But you need to understand if you have an issue in your relationship and you just keep doing this and somehow you're not getting through to the other person. And the wrong misconception people have is that if Darius wronged me and I said, Darius, I didn't like what you said. And then I say, and he didn't get what I just said. He goes on and continues the same behavior. I failed to communicate what I need you to know. So what you do is you listen to each other. And then if you're not quite sure, you ask the person, can you repeat back what you heard me say? 9 times out of 10, the person got it wrong. And the person said, well, I told him. No, you spoke something, you said something, you verbalized something, but the burden lies on the person's communicating what you need heard. Correct. So you have to keep saying back, no, that's not what I said. And another thing, when the person would say something, the other spouse would say something, the other person start criticizing. You never belittle somebody's feelings about a topic.
Correct.
You may not agree with you, but you never minimize. For example, I told the story about this girlfriend of mine, this coworker. I'm not a cat lover, and that's okay. I never liked cats. She came in one day. She was so hurt because her kitten had died. Now, she was distraught. I couldn't believe that somebody was actually crying over a cat dying because I don't care for cats. But what I learned, even though I don't like cats, what she was feeling was real. She was hurt.
So validation.
So I had to validate her feelings and respect it.
Okay.
Okay? You may not ever change. So some things have to be left unsaid. And there's an area we call unspoken truth. An unspoken truth is something like, say somebody been married more than once or twice. Somebody said something. And in an argument, you say, that's why your other marriage didn't work. That's why your other boyfriend left you. You never say that. Those are unspoken truth.
I think it boils down to good faith.
What do you mean by
good faith? Means that whenever you engage into a rational discussion or you're looking for a resolution or an outcome, that should be the priority before you engage into that discussion. That you follow me? You have to be willing to come to a peace.
Give me an example.
You have to be willing to, basically, if you and I are sitting down and we had a rough day and we did some things that angered each other, okay, and we both know that there's a resolution is needed. The conflict is unresolved. When we at that point, when we come together, at the culmination, when we come together and start our discussion, our goal, our individual goals should be to resolve this issue, not for me to tell you off or you to tell me about myself, where to get off and where to go because of what happened today.
I agree.
Do you understand? And good faith is that's the main ingredient in every um, any obtaining a solution. If you're not, if you don't come to that discussion with good faith, you're just coming to relieve yourself of all the anger and frustration,
Right,
and which it
right.
never it never will
And right,
go well.
and the good faith on my part would be that I may not agree with what you're saying, but whatever the issue, I may not even respect your opinion at that moment. But all decisions have to come back to what is best for our relationship,
Hmm.
what is best for our marriage. We may have to abandon some preconceived notions about how it should work out. You understand what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
like to go by examples. Okay, many years ago, and I share, my husband made me share a thing. I don't get down to really serious stuff, but years ago in our other house we had association, and we had to actually keep our property a certain way. You had to paint your house, every so many years.
Hmm.
Had to be standards according to the association, to that complex, to that subdivision. Now we had talked about, well, really, he had talked about. This is an example.
Okay.
He had said what we're gonna do with the $2,000 we're gonna get back. Now he was saying when we get our income tax money, we're gonna paint the house. Now when he said that, I was in my mind, I was totally against what he wanted to do. Okay, I didn't say anything to him, but I said in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm being honest. You, there's no shame in my game. I said to myself, I know what I'm gonna do with my half.
Hmm.
That was back in the day, about 20 years ago. I said I know what I'm gonna do with my half. I didn't say that. I was just waiting for the check to come. When the check came, he said he had already identified a painter to paint the house on the outside. It was going to take a lot of money. It was a big house. And I said, oh, no, I don't want to take the money to paint the house. He said, Phyllis, the house has to be painted. And I said, no, just give me my half.
It's selfish.
Selfishness.
Selfishness. Yeah.
Selfishness, guy. I came back to that. And we had a little exchange about that. I went to my corner of the house. You know how you do, where we get upset.
Hmm.
And I thought about that. He was dead right. He was right on it. But I was not interested in abandoning my selfish motive, because I want to do what I want with my half, and that's no such thing as my half.
Hmm.
It's what's best for this marriage, what's best for our situation. So I agreed, and I learned from that throughout the years, and after I got my training, to always make decisions what's best for our relationship, what's best for us.
And you know what? I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna get a little bit more provocative on this particular topic. And as a man, as a homeowner, as a real estate broker, where he came from, I think what you highlighted was the whole idea of knowing.
Mm-hmm.
One person's gonna know
A little bit more.
a
in
little bit
some
more
areas.
on certain areas. There needs to be a person that yields at a point.
That's right.
You follow me?
That's
Leadership and taking the
Right.
back seat on certain matters.
Right.
In your mind, you were focused on getting your cash
All right.
and using your half
My half.
for your agenda, for
Right.
your personal benefit.
Yes.
Okay? Whereas you own half of the house, he owns half of the house. Community property.
Right.
You follow me? So
It goes
His-
back
his-
to that
his
thing,
interest-
submission. People
but-
don't want to submit.
correct. So I think there has to be in every matter a reckoning of, okay, who's more skilled in this area, comparative advantage, who has more skill set, who's more passionate, who's done more research on this issue, who has more experience with this issue, and a certain level of trust, knowing that that person knows what they're talking about.
But do you think it's a lot of times? Somebody said something. Do you think it's also?
Thank you, Everyday Knows. And really quick, guys, go ahead, if you have not done so, please hit that like button. Continue to leave your comments. Going over to D Bailey Speaks, and
channel.
be sure to subscribe as well. We will be doing quite a few more videos in the future on similar
do a part
topics.
two
Yeah, we
of
may
this.
do a part two. Yeah,
I think
but
we'll talk about on our next video. Talk about what does submission looks like, because I think that's the part a lot of people have a problem with. For example, I think we have to recognize and acknowledge the fact that my husband knew more about what he was talking about, and he was coming from as a leader and as a man. And sometimes we as women, we take offense to that, and we start thinking about, you don't tell me what to do, or da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? That we talk more about that. But in any relationship, in a cooperation, a business, on your job, there's a leader.
Mm-hmm.
There's a CEO of a company, there's a president or whatever, but there's a leader. And the leader is there to take the blame for everything and seek out revenues for the business. He has a role.
We got to get a lot deeper on this topic because
Yeah,
I have so
we're getting
many.
right. I know we'll talk. We do that part too, guys. We talk about submission because when women hear that word submission, they get bent out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't bother me because I can tell you more how I learned. It's not like being a doormat to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about that. It's that when we make decisions, somebody just said, when you make a decision, if you're a teacher in a classroom, you have all these kids, okay? That those kids are looking for you as the leader. And now the teacher has to make that final decision what's best for this classroom. So out of respect, husband and wife, we sit down and we talk about all the facts, bring all the facts, what the issue is, all the facts. And if my husband have the best solution for our marriage, I'm gonna submit to that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's gonna have to submit. I may have the best. Now my husband used to sell fine furniture. Now he knows he's a salesman. That's what he did for a living. Made a lot of money. But let me tell you this: I would not even attempt to argue with my husband walking to a furniture store. My husband can tell you what quality furniture is. He can point out how it's made. Now I may go in there and say, "Ooh, let's go in this furniture store. It's cheaper." Or I mean, he said, "No." He can point out who made this chair, who made that bed. Now I would not even try to attempt to argue with my husband about his expertise, his area.
Okay.
Now, he has known over the years that not to come and try to go toe to toe with me when it comes to human behavior or behaviors in kids or marriage, teaching. You understand where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
That's not his area of expertise. So I actually just allow for my husband, not allow, I respect him. The, he knows what he's talking about, and I respect his opinion. But you have to respect each person's opinion. You're a
I agree.
team.
I agree.
You're a team. So I think relationship number one, you cannot change another person's behavior. You can only make it safe for that person to change. Meaning you put on the table, you never demean. And I like to talk on the next video about how to argue productively. What does a good disagreement look like? How it's supposed to play? Because marriage, like any other game, people don't believe like that word. There are rules. There
Yeah.
are rules, and there are boundaries, the lines you don't cross. Like one of those just talked about forbidden territory, unspoken truth. You never say anything about somebody's weight. You never talk about their previous relationship. You never bring their family into the relationship in the argument.
Read Random's videos says respect is important. Most definitely. That's the human element behind it.
Yes.
That's definitely the human element. I think yelling and screaming. I think an argument should be rational.
It's non-productive.
I think it should be. Now, I don't mean free of crying, free of tears. I think that should not be a part of the solution.
But you know what women do? Women do that.
I think tears
Yeah.
should be respected.
There's a place.
Tears should be there should be provision for
And
for
there's
the
a
emotions.
time,
There should be
right.
provision for the emotion.
Yeah.
Okay, what that looks like is, sweetheart, let's take a moment. Can I get you a tissue? What are you feeling right now?
You know I can't wait to drop-
Postpone that rational element and then pick back up after those feelings have been addressed.
You
What are
know-
your thoughts?
My thought is this, and I know, and I've learned, and I've trained in this.
Because a lot of people will use tears to divert,
Or manipulate.
or
Right.
divert the discussion.
Right. But a tear, a woman, we let's admit it, guys. Women and men, we are different. We have more different hormones. We are more emotional. But women have to learn. I had to learn this. You have to learn to put your emotions aside in an intelligent discussion. And
I like
may-
to say follow the rational discussion.
it may not
wherever
be
it goes.
right, but it may not
Follow
be,
where it goes.
I think a lot of times tears, if a woman is crying because she's sad or something just went down, that's how you try to comfort her. But if you say, "Baby, we need to talk about you're spending too much money," you've exceeded the budget for this month. A woman cannot come to that discussion
Hi, Gemma.
crying and defensive. She has to be able to listen, control her emotion, listen to what the husband bring the facts, and just say, okay, and be open and be willing to be accountable for your behavior. We all have to be accountable for our behavior and our actions. There's no time. Now, that's what I mean.
Accountability.
There's no time for tears. It's a time to be a big girl and say, put on your big girl
Yeah.
panties. Marriage is about being a big girl,
Yeah.
being mature. We're not little girls anymore. And there's not a place and time for all that crying. And I want to talk about in another video about being a survivor or a victim.
Where the guys at? Come on, guys.
Be a survivor, victim. Men don't want to talk to
Welcome,
us.
Jenna's Journey. Grace, thank you for joining us today. Be sure to hit the like button
And
and
who is
continue.
that, Gemma Gray?
Gemma Journey Grace.
Gemma's
Gemma's
this is
Journey
my
Grace.
son. This is Xander's dad.
Nice to meet you, Gemma.
She's in the UK.
Okay,
Been following me
awesome.
for many, many
Yeah.
years. Sweet, sweet person. Y'all, please go by and say hello to each other's chat houses. Please, guys, and support each other. I say this is a plug. I say all the time. We are all creators, and we all have to support each other. We're on this journey together. And so, you lose some, you gain some. So support each other.
What are you guys' thoughts on accountability? Do you believe that accountability is necessary in order for one mate to not feel shortchanged? Because I'm a strong believer accountability has to be acknowledged and accepted.
But in social service, there are kids you see, you have to teach a child how to be accountable for the actions.
Mm-hmm.
Some people had learned how, to be accountable for the action. There's a term, right?
So you're saying going back to
You got
childhood,
to go back and find
coming
out,
to adulthood.
Right. You have to
Oh,
learn how to
interesting.
be accountable for your actions. Some people just let children just go through the flow. They don't take the time to teach them life skills and life lessons. So they hadn't learned how. And sometimes to be accountable for your actions, in your head, you're saying there's something wrong with me. They say something wrong with me. I'm great. I'm all that and a milkshake.
Wow.
But you have to learn how to know you're not all that and a milkshake. None of us are perfect, but we have to take accountability for the action. If I slap Darius right now, I cannot slap him and just not take accountability for what I just did.
Boy, you gonna get it?
Yeah, I'm
No,
gonna
just
get
joking.
it. I can't slap you anymore, but I used to slap you around a lot when you were a little boy. I didn't do a lot of spanking, but this boy was something. That's another whole.
Yeah, I was a
ballgame.
handful.
Right, but you got to be accountable for your action. And you know what? When you don't go through life learning how to apologize for what you just did, that makes it worse. You go on and on and on, and taking accountability for your action gets worse. You have to
Becomes harder to do.
harder to do.
Wow.
So you have to. That's why I call unresolved issues, guys. I love this stuff. People understand. We come together. We join somebody. We all have
Baggage.
empty backpacks when we were born. There's nothing in our backpacks. But over the years, we all experienced traumatic things and experience in our life, and our backpack gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Instead of a little pebble, now we got these big stones in our backpack. And then we find somebody, we in love, and I love you, you love me, and then we're going to blend our lives together. And then what happens is we say, okay, then trouble comes. And then we don't understand that all our childhood issues has now been magnified 1,000 times over, because now we're in a relationship. Relationships gonna make your issues come out a lot, because buttons gonna start being pushed. Buttons gonna be envelopes gonna be pushed to the limit. So now you have all these issues. Now these issues are, we call it bleeding over into your relationship with this person. It's a true fact. I'm not gonna say what it was, but I had a childhood traumatic experience. And it's a coping mechanism that nature gives us when we go through trauma. We have a way we bury it because it's too painful. We bury it. And it's there for many, many years. And something happened when I got married and had a child, that same thing that happened to me, I had forgotten it happened to me. But one particular thing happened, and all of a sudden, it's like a floodgate. I started crying. And I remember, that's what they call a light bulb moment. I used to work with emotionally stirred children, abused in every aspect, physically, emotionally, and mentally just abused. So that, for me, that experience came up. And that experience was affecting my relationships, and I didn't know it. So you have to deal with that stuff. When those light bulb moments come, and relationships will bring it out of you.
Coach Sherry says it was a trigger. That's correct.
That's right. It's a trigger. It's a hidden called light bulb moment. They come out. So we just can't think, but just because we married, we're in love with somebody, that's gonna solve everything.
Man, that's such a small aspect
Yes,
of it.
and another thing too, people think when they come to the
Interesting.
Lord, it's gonna solve everything. You know, you come to when you get to know your Creator and you find Him for whatever that look like to you. That's not gonna fix your relationship. That's gonna fix your
No,
childhood
I
dramas,
think that's
traumas.
diffusing responsibility and accountability
Right,
for people who believe that.
right. I like I say, most of the workshops I did with people in churches, and people sitting in churches, they're just as miserable people that are not in the church. And it's in a way it's worse for them because they sitting there waiting for God to solve that problem. Yes, He can solve
Hmm.
everything, but you have to identify what it is that now in your life that's affecting you, your relationship with this person, that's preventing you to have a joyful, productive, uh, self-meaning for
Harmonious,
you, harmonious
harmonious.
relationship. What is it? What is it? You know,
Yeah.
like, and you have to understand, people
Self
say, my
awareness.
husband is just not very affectionate. My husband, I had to learn this too. Every child does not grow up in a home with affectionate people where they saw mom and daddy hugging and embracing each other, showing that they respect each other. So when they get married, they may not even know how to show affection.
Coach Sherry says self awareness is so important. Thank you for
Yes.
joining us. If you have not liked, hit the like button. Please do so now, Coach Sherry.
This is my son, Coach Cherry. My grandson Xander's my video. His dad, D. Bailey speaks. So he want to talk about relationships, and she's so true.
Yep.
That is so true. Emotion, relationships is something else. Because I'm telling you, if you don't get the right person, that's what we call in the church say having a pact with the devil.
Hmm.
A relationship, a bad relationship, impacts so many areas of your life. When you're miserable in a relationship, you talking about some pain and some misery. It's nothing like it. You know, there's nothing like it. So you
Yeah.
got to find some way to. Sometimes it's just not gonna work. Sometimes everybody say, "Well, God can do everything."
About that, guys.
I don't never answer. It'll stop. So you may lose your stream.
All right, it's all good. We'll ride it out. Pardon us for
Wait
the
a minute.
technical.
Oh, little stream. What did it say? What does it say? I can't see. Oh, you want to stop streaming? Say no. There, move this thing over. Put this over there.
Here we go.
Cancel. I'm sorry, guys. So he knows now. When I get a phone call on my phone, I don't answer it. But where were we?
We're learning. We'll get those little things squared away
I never
in the
answer. If I need to
future.
just turn the volume down on my phone. But you know, it's awesome being able to talk to a younger person about relationship as opposed to my age. You know,
Yeah.
because the older you get, you get more mellow in life, and we pick our battles.
Hmm.
We don't even address certain things. What did it comment? We don't address certain things. You know, like it's not worth it. It's called picking your battle, and some things are never gonna get resolved. So you come to a conclusion that this is just the way it is the way it is. It is the way it is. If it's not something serious, uh, but you do have a right and expectation to want to have a joyful, meaningful relationship with the person you love.
Yeah.
So, and someone asked me, so what do you mean about you can't change another person, just make the environment safe for that person to change? That just means if we have an issue, we talk about, discuss it. I don't minimize or uh, put less value on what you're feeling. I may not agree with you, but I understand it's bringing you pain. And because I love you, I'm
Yeah.
willing to try to address it.
Coach Sherry says, I like this point. She says, I've been praying for my children's future spouses when they turn 3, praying they were having good experience in a loving household. My kids are now 19, 21, and 23 now. Awesome.
Sherry, I love that. I was the same way, Darius, when my
Yeah.
children were little.
Yeah.
I used to always teach them that I said, Lord, help them to find a mate that get them,
Yeah.
that gets them, a mate that have their back, a
Support.
mate that respect them. And I started young when they were little,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I taught them what women like. I taught you guys what women like, what you don't do to hurt a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Respect her, understand she is an individual, and understand just like children, your spouses, we're not each other's property. We're two individuals, different thoughts, and we think different from different backgrounds and we handle things differently. But I think anything can be worked out if you're willing and you're open and you're willing to do the work. Marriage takes work.
Yeah.
It's not for cowards. It
Yeah.
takes work, but you gotta be willing to do the work.
Yeah.
Who was that? Just you gotta be willing to do the work. We're gonna be doing even more and more
Man,
of
this is
these.
awesome.
We're gonna be doing even more and more, guys. We're gonna do part two, but I think we're gonna talk about the issues that I find in a lot of marriages. People they're afraid of that word submission,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to talk more about what that looks like. And when I work with couples and they come to me, they're always giving me examples, and that's how you fix things. You have to come and say, for example. And one thing, ladies, when you actually have a disagreement with your husband and you want to sit down and talk about it, don't say things like, "You never do this. You always do this." There's no such thing.
You always doesn't leave room for.
Right. You
Yeah.
don't never do that. You don't ever take me. Nobody never always do anything. You
Yeah.
don't say that. And when you argue and you disagree, you never hit what we call hitting below the belt. That means you don't bring up we call what I just said earlier. I'm having a senior moment.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm reading the comments, so
You read
I'm.
the comment.
It's
You know
okay
what I'm
though.
saying? In other words, for example, when couples come, they have to give me examples. For example, they say things like, "Every time we get in an argument, she threatens to leave.
Mhm.
Every time we get in an argument, he threatens to leave."
Mhm.
You should never do that. You never jeopardize or put that insecurity in someone about their safety.
Stability.
The
There should be
stability,
order and stability at
secure.
all times,
Right.
despite how you
that's,
feel.
That's
Yeah.
right. You keep with the issue. If you having a disagreement about the remote control, and you know, you don't start bringing in your mama or your children or your ex-wife, your ex-girlfriend,
Yeah.
or you stay with the issue at hand. So that's what we call productive argument. There are guidelines and rules. We just
Mhm.
don't pass them. Unspoken truths, what I mean.
Yeah.
Unspoken truth thing like picking up somebody's weight, how many times been married, and all that kind of stuff. You don't do that. You stick with it. In life, marriage is wonderful. I'd rather be married than single. I think marriage can be a great institution to live in. It's an institution, but every institution got to have order, and everybody got to follow their roles, and
Yeah.
everybody got to respect everybody's position, and everybody got to what I call support and recognize each other's strength.
Mhm.
You got to recognize someone's strength. In social service, we don't say weaknesses. We say, they used to say weaknesses 20 years ago. Now we say needs. In other words, you have some strength, but you have some areas that needs an improvement.
Okay.
You remember the report card used to come out and say, needs improvement? Remember before they gave you letters, they gave you S's, satisfactory.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Needs
and
improvement,
things.
satisfactory. Yeah.
Right.
Unsatisfactory. Yeah.
Unsatisfactory. So, baby, we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
And another thing, you have to pick the time that you want to talk about an argument.
Yeah.
Now,
That's a great point.
Women, we have this.
That's
we
a
have-
great point.
Right.
One person doesn't want to discuss something.
So you say
They're not invested in the relationship at that particular moment, and that needs to be provision for that, in my
they
opinion.
may be invested in a relationship. They're not
No,
invested
at
in
the
the
time.
at the time.
That's what I'm referring
Right.
to. You don't have
Right.
the energy for it at the time, or you may not be in the best space. You may feel as though you're not in the right mental space, or you're not. Now I'm not in my best I haven't eaten anything.
Right.
I'm tired. I worked all day. I'm not feeling well. You get what I'm
That's
saying?
what I'm about to say. with
So
the-
those are
right. Right.
those are times where discussions aren't productive.
In other words, we teach this. When a man first come home from work, you're not supposed to bombard him what's going on with all day long. The kids didn't listen to you. The wash machine broke down. The checking account is getting low.
Challenge,
You don't
yeah.
do that. There's a time and a purpose and a season for everything. You give that man time to unwind. You give that man time to transition to being home again. Because men are different. We think differently, guys. It's a known fact. We think different. We approach things different. So give that man that respect of that. And then later on. And women, you cannot come to a man in an emotional state. Want to talk about what you did to me? No. Calm down. Get yourself together, sister. And then this is what I do with my husband. I'll say to him, when you get a chance, can we talk about, I would like to talk to you about something.
Mhm.
And I put the ball in his court to give him some sense of control. Men have to feel like they're in control of the situation. That's just the way they are. So my husband will come back to me and say, what you want to talk about? I do not stand in front of my husband who watch his favorite show, Little Women of Atlanta, one of them, and stand there and say, or come to him and say, can we talk? That's disrespectful. It is so easy for us to get so used to each other, we stop respecting each other as human beings.
Mhm.
We get so used that we take each other for granted. That's another whole
Yeah.
thing. You cannot take each other for granted. And guys, what you do, don't wait, ladies, 4 or 5 months feeling he's taking me for granted. And then you go come out and it's gonna be a whirl. We're gonna start airing all this stuff what you did.
Mhm.
Da 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 da. Talk the stuff as it happened. Resolve issues as they happen as soon as you possibly can.
Let me ask you this. Well, not actually, but Red's random videos made a great point. Yes, it has to start at childhood,
Yes.
which
Mhm.
like
Yes.
everything,
Like everything.
practice starts, or when your parents support something, you're more likely to
So now you
to get towards that outcome.
but now you see why it's so
Because you're trying to please your parents, and if they're giving you valuable life skills or valuable lessons, you're gonna receive those and carry those as you grow
but
older.
what
In my
Red
opinion.
just said and what you just said, then you don't you see why it's so easy now that couples start clashing because they
Mhm.
both come from different backgrounds
Yes.
and different childhoods.
Yes, I agree.
But unfortunately, a lot of people want to address their childhood traumas.
Mhm.
So you have to give some allowance for the way somebody was raised.
Yeah.
And it said, well, they didn't get what I got. Unfortunately, they didn't get what I got. Because it's something they had that you didn't get.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
you
it's
have
true.
to be open to that.
That's true. That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, and so bring it together and make a great team.
Mhm.
But neither one is the other person's property.
That's true.
There's an individual, she's an individual. And that's another thing I want to talk about. I made a mistake over the years, but I know better now, and I tell people this. When you get married and when you choose to blend your life with another person, share your life and allow somebody else in your personal space, you have to bear in mind that you should not lose who you are, your individuality, because I decided to blend my life
That's true.
with yours.
Yeah.
But we do
We
it
should
all
know
the
who we are.
time.
We should know who we are
It's self-awareness.
before we go into a relationship.
Right.
Period. I think that's a.
But most people aren't self-aware.
Yeah.
Self-awareness, you have to work on being self-aware. To be self-aware, you must understand. First of all, people don't like to do this. You have to know where you came from.
Yeah.
What was your childhood like? Where did you come from? What was your culture? You know what I'm saying? And then you have to know where you are, who are you right now today? Who am I? I'm a different Phyllis than I was 30 years ago.
As you should be.
Right. But
As
I'm a
we-
different Phyllis today, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. My tomorrow is better because I went back and identified where I came from, what are my triggers, what did I not get?
Yeah.
What did I not? What was the deficit in my childhood? We always say dysfunctional. Everybody got a little dysfunction going on because nobody's
That's correct.
perfect.
Hell yeah.
That nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
So some things in life, my husband and I would never agree about certain things. After I've gone on 23
Aw.
years together, we're never going to agree. We have decided that we're never going to agree, so we don't even talk about those things.
Yeah.
Somebody said something.
That's why I hugged and kissed my children when they were young, and I still do it now. They are adults. Great, good.
Right.
Look, I kissed my 20. What has Marcus 26?
Yeah.
24-year-old and my 6-year-old. I'm sorry, Dad's gonna kiss my boys. I teach my boys to be affectionate, to be strong, to be leaders, and have duality in existence. You can be a strong man, but yet I think a strong man knows when to be affectionate, when to show his emotions, and
But there are books on that topic. There are a lot of books. Y'all love reading. I got so many books. But there's a book about how women try to make men into women.
Yeah, exactly.
You
That's
cannot do
rampant
that.
in this.
We're
That's
different.
rampant now.
It's a medical fact.
Everything
Derek.
is toxic masculinity
Toxic,
now.
right. You cannot,
You know.
a man is a man. That's why he's a
Yeah.
man.
We like what we like.
Right. And they're different. They're going to think different. They're going to address things differently.
Yeah.
And what men don't like women to be needy, and they don't like women to be too clingy, and they don't like women to be bossy, for lack of a better word. Uh, but we're not anybody's doormat. A wise woman and a self-aware woman gonna understand the nature of a man. That a man is not like me. You don't think like it. I
Yeah.
think men solve problems differently. You know what I'm saying? But that's respect.
Yeah.
That's respect.
What are your thoughts on competition?
Well,
Competition.
that's some research to show that
Should we be
couples
competing?
can be in
Should
competition.
we
with each
should we
other.
be competing if we're on the same team?
I don't think so. In what respect?
Competing.
No. But a woman feel. See, in this day, that's another whole topic. Women feel like I can do everything a man can do. Because we make a statement that men and women are different does not mean we have to be in competition with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the world says now that, oh, I can be a cable man, I can climb poles,
Yeah.
and you can do all that.
Should you though? Exactly. So
If
the
that's
question
what
should
you-
be should you or
Well, I don't. I
where
think-
does it
I
where
don't
does a
believe in
family
this. I don't
where does a
believe in-
family or where the team comes in because God gave each one of us, man and woman. Okay, everyone's entitled to set up their structure, their relationship, how it works for them.
Works for the
Works for their relationship.
Right.
But God gave us individual abilities, skills,
Right.
things that we're more inclined to.
Right. But we don't.
And we
respect
reckon we
those.
have to anyone recognizing who they are as a person, you have attributes, you have qualities, you have unique attributes, qualities, and strengths and weaknesses. It's up to each person to define who they are on this earth and identify, recognize, and use those.
But the question is,
But
the
the-
challenge is, do we respect those each other's strengths and attributes?
That's a great question,
Are
yeah.
we trying to change
That's a
them?
great question.
Are we trying to change them to fit what we want, though? We think what they should look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the challenge and the conflict comes because we are now trying to mold you into being a little me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how it's going to be. And then you're going to
No, it
start.
shouldn't be.
Then what's going to happen is the fight going to start. It's on now.
Yep.
That's why I would go back to I don't mind my husband was telling me like the example at the house. It's all in presentation.
Yeah.
Presentation is a big thing. If you say to me, I need you to do this. You state a fact. That's a fact. I need you to put X amount of money in our checking account. Oh, that's what we agreed on together.
Yeah.
But not to tell me, I need you to put it in because I said so. Human nature is going to buck that. That's a dictator.
Of course.
That's a dictator. You start telling people because I said so or because I'm the boss. For example, when I used to run the group homes and a child that's ADD and ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
we used to have staff were actually getting conflict and send their child into a major crisis, all because that staff would say, I want you to do this, I'm telling you to do this, and they would end it with, cause I'm the boss.
Yeah.
That's not a great leader. You don't, I told the staff, I said, listen, you need to learn how to deal with this particular diagnosis. This child ADD, ADHD, they respond more to choices.
Yeah.
And
I
I
agree.
said, you have to learn, it's a strategy used. We work with different behaviors, different diagnoses, different axes, psychiatric diagnoses. You give that child choices. And so I had this particular staff. I said, until you adhere to his plan and this strategy that works for Johnny, you're going to continue to have conflict with Bobby.
Okay.
And so when she actually came on board after disciplinary action, and then we said, you need to follow his plan and start giving Johnny choices, Johnny respond, his behaviors diminish.
Yes.
You cannot use that with some kids. You can just say that.
You guys have some great ideas on here.
What they said?
You can be strong and successful in your own right, and together that makes a winning union. Everyone should, exactly.
Right.
Have discussions, not battles.
Right.
And I think that goes back to good faith.
Right.
You have to be willing to work towards the outcome.
That all
Consider the possibility of, being wrong.
that goes back to submission.
Submission, and of course, if you are right, where does that being right
But what
take
I'm saying,
the union? Yeah.
it's not important to always feel you right.
Mhm.
You know, a lot
But
of
I
times
think everyone to a degree wants to, which I,
you may want to, but it's
Yeah.
not important to just carry yourself with like, I'm right.
hmm
You know, a lot of times you know you're right,
yeah,
but it's not important to keep throwing up in that person's face that I'm right, I'm right. But I think if people would back off, three main things. Understand you cannot change another human being. You're going to make it safe for that person to change by not being judgmental.
Correct.
And praising the person when they do better, saying, "Oh, you did a great job, honey." I do it with my husband. If I want him to get better, instead I always tell him, "You never did it. You never closed the doors. You never closed the cabinet door." My husband has a habit of leaving doors open all the
Mm-hmm.
time. After all these years, still drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And so he may not ever get to the point he closed all of them. But even the past couple of years, instead of me saying, "Close the door, why'd you close the door?" I say, "Baby, can you work on closing the doors?" And I
Mm-hmm.
showed him one day he left the nightstand drawer out and I almost bumped my leg on it. And I said, "Baby," I said, "listen, see why it's important you close the drawer because I can
Uh,
trip and fall."
I hurt
The
myself.
first time he saw that, the importance of that. So when he does start closing doors more, I said, "Oh, thank you, baby. I see you doing better.
Yeah.
I appreciate that." That's a strategy and a plan. Everybody need a treatment plan.
Yeah.
And so I should write treatment plans for kids with behavior problems. And way those children to get better there, they respond to verbal praise and they got better.
Yeah.
But criticizing that child and always throwing up in their face or telling them I'm the
Come on.
boss, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, man, this is an awesome discussion here.
Someone just said
I
something.
want to tie it back into social media if we can at some point. Red's Random says, Miss Phyllis and son, I'm enjoying the segment. Please make this a part of your channel.
We will.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Well, you're talking about women on social media that so you never did tell me.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my main platform. I am on Instagram with not my channel name, but my private account. So I don't follow internet, social media whores. I don't know what they're doing. I just know
Yeah.
people are
Me personally,
everything.
I don't think I follow it. It's for me. It was a trending topic. It was
Okay.
something that the community is going towards, or may tend to have an issue with going forward. I think my generation is not having as difficult a time with social
Exactly.
media. Yeah, but I like to circumambulation connect the past with the present and the future.
Well, I do know just from shows I look at that people playing out their personal lives on social media.
Yeah.
Everybody, and it all goes back to selfishness again. There's nothing wrong in looking
Yep.
good, but everything is about look at me, I'm fine. And women are thinking that just because they look good, that that's all they need to bring to a relationship. I do see that,
Mhm.
but I don't think they understand it takes more than a great body and nice makeup to bring to a relationship.
Yeah.
So I think that within itself is why a lot of relationships aren't making it.
Yeah.
They're selfishness and everything's about selfishness.
Yeah.
It goes back to selfishness.
That's true. This is the beauty of Coach Sherry. She's some great content.
Is she actually a social worker?
We need to do
A collaboration
a
with her.
collaboration. Yeah, because she has some great points
Well,
right
she
here.
willing to do live
I think
stream
everyone
with her?
has some great points.
Ask her who be willing to come on the platform and we do StreamYard.
Yeah, if you guys look, if you have interest in doing a link to channels or a
StreamYard.
StreamYard, so just we're gonna put a
Let me
link in the
know.
description how you can reach out in as far as business inquiries. So check the description when we're done with this live video, once we post it, and let's consider doing some
I need, what's her name again? It's Coach Sherry.
Coach Sherry, yes.
Ask Coach
But
Sherry.
everyone's gonna have our too because the link is gonna be in the
Okay.
description.
Coach Sherry, are you a life coach or a social worker? Because I'm a spiritual slash life
Entrepreneur
coach.
and workforce development professional.
Oh,
Also.
okay. All right.
But yeah, guys, it's awesome video. We're gonna do a part 2,
Yeah.
at least. Do me a favor, if go ahead and like this video, going over to D Bailey Speaks channel, D Bailey and Associates Realty, these other 2 channels.
Will Sundays be a good day? Sunday
We
would be a good day
that works.
for me and you.
That's fine.
Okay, we'll try to do it on Sundays because you work and you're busy.
So we're doing on this channel, we do a lot of relationships, social matters. Over in D Bailey, we discuss money, mindset, wealth, family, and real estate. So if you're looking for a little bit more serious content, along with family-oriented content, going over and click that like button, subscribe as well.
And as a mom, I'm tickled pink because It snowed and ice here, and I got the opportunity
Hang out.
to be stranded and hang out with this D Bailey here, my son. So it's been crazy here. Atlanta weather's crazy. So
Yeah.
he'll be
It'll be
leaving
gone soon.
today.
It'll be gone in the next few
Yeah.
hours.
So we've been doing a lot of videos and uploading the last couple of days. It's been fun, and I thank you guys so much for your support. Um, I think everybody here I'm already a supporter of. So
Mm-hmm.
make sure you go by and check out each other's channel, their houses, and if you like what you see, hit that button.
Yeah. Wow. Exciting video. Pleasure, guys.
Pleasure, guys.
We're going to go ahead and sign off.
Bye bye.
Thank you for watching. You guys have a safe and beautiful MLK Day.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Da, da.